Morning, everybody. Morning, guys.
Good morning, sir.
I've unmuted all of you at the moment. I think just for the intro, it will be nice if we can just have a. You don't have to switch to video because some of you might be in your pajamas. But yeah, just for the start of the term. I mean, geez, I mean, I think we would all have to hear most of people's voices. Admit Dylan is still joining us. So I think, yeah, just for the start, it'll be nice before we switch to before we switch to the mute on everybody, and then get into the program itself. I'm going to allow another minute or so. You know, even if it's not on campus, there's always one or two people who sort of stagger in the last minute. Like some of the football teams that some of you support who are in the habit of winning games or losing games in the final seconds. How's everybody doing? Just in general, anybody can reply. I mean, there's no particular order. I just want to know how you're doing.
All good.
Good, sir.
Good.
Are you awake?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All good, sir.
Oh, yes. No, this doesn't sound good at all. How are you guys coping? Frustrated beyond belief, huh?
Yes. That would be the correct answer.
If there's anybody who wants to rent my family for the next month, I welcome. They have cars of their own. Send me a mail. I'll give you the particulars. I'll even drop them. Don't worry. I think, yeah, we're all frustrated. We all feel like this, and yeah, on the weekend, as a matter of fact, during last week, my son came to me and says, "Dad, geez, you know what? This is getting to me. Can't we have a party? Can't I invite some friends?" You know what? And don't want to endorse breaking any rules, but I can see that from a social point. I mean, especially at the age that you guys are at, he's at the same age. You're social animals. You can't be locked down in in a confined space for too long. And I think even though we have the modern technology and you can still communicate with your friends via social media, it's not the same. Imagine if COVID-19 happened 20 years ago. How would we have communicated with each other? It would have been terrible. I mean, I said to somebody yesterday, that's probably how, you know, that 15 million people died in 1920, what they call the Spanish flu, which 100 years ago. And it's purely because nobody could warn each other about what's happening, what's coming. Now, at least I think with the modern technology, we can share and hopefully prevent. I've got a bit of a bug at the moment, so I'm working from my home office for today's sessions, where usually it would have been on campus, even if there's no students in the classroom. But yeah, I think it's getting to all of us. Just to before we start with what lies ahead for you in personal selling in this semester, congratulations on semester one. I was quite impressed with how you guys performed. I think in hindsight, and obviously we are trying to improve in whatever regard we can as we go along. And I think what I've also realized is that for many students, especially students with specific personalities and profiles, and even students, or especially students with learning challenges, they have benefited greatly from the online way of learning, because they could watch that video again and again and again and again. And they can pause it, they can take notes, where normally that doesn't happen when in a normal class situation. Once the presentation has been done, it's done, it's gone. Yes, you can answer, you can ask a question later on, but sometimes you forget what you wanted to ask in the context at that stage. So yes, it has its advantages. It's challenging because, I mean, we're restricted to places that we are so familiar with. I can blindfold you and you can probably walk around in your house at the moment because you know it so well. But yes, it's challenging. We work around it, but let's make the best of it, like we always do. Yeah, I'm going to just unmute everybody that has joined later on. Guys, if you have anything to say at the moment, anything to contribute, any questions you might have, if it's related to semester one and the subjects that, and specifically business marketing or the introduction to business marketing that you did with me, at the moment, I would much rather, if I receive a specific request, address such a particular or issues regarding the first semester. But in general, I was quite happy that most of you did well, and that we can continue in the same fashion. Is anybody with any questions, any contributions at the moment? Nobody?
No,
Nobody? All good? All good?
Mm-hmm.
Could you just show how the textbook looks for that we're going to be
Textbook.
using this semester?
I will, when we do the PowerPoint, there's a photograph on the first page of the personal selling book. I'm going to hold it up like that for you as well. That's the one that we're going to be using. It's called Personal Selling. The previous one, the third edition, is a blue one, and it's the same authors. I've got both books with me, and the detail you'll find if you open on the first page of the PowerPoint that we're going to do later on in the session. You will see a picture of this with all the different, with the correct authors and everything, so you can actually get the right book. Yes. There's not too much difference. I've had a look at both of the books, the third and the fourth edition. There's content-wise, it's very much the same. Pages different are slightly different between the two books, the third and the fourth edition. This is the book we're going to be using. And then also, I think what I've learned during the first semester and in engaging with other colleges and other programs I'm also working on, that it is very nice to have a lot of, or as much additional resources as we can. For today's session, for instance, and I'll mention it when we go through the slides, I'm going to, on finishing this session, I'm going to upload to you an additional Word document that contains some videos. This particular video is one I think you would find very interesting to watch, especially on this particular subject of personal selling. It is by Grant Cardone. He's the best salesperson, or self-proclaimed best salesperson in the world, but he's got a net worth of about $300 million US. So he's done well for himself as a salesperson. And he's even got a Grant Cardone Sales University where he trains salespeople. So those additional resources I'll upload on a regular basis, and I'll refer to them in our presentations. Just for the start, at the start, all the sessions, when we initially invited you for these Zoom sessions or for this week's sessions, the ID for the session, the link, remains the same. It's set as a recurring session. So in other words, if the 40 minutes, which usually is allowed and permitted for a Zoom session, if that 40 minutes pass, I usually allow about 2 minutes or so to for you guys just to click on the link again and rejoin the session. And then we'll finish it according to the timetable. And the timetable that we will follow is exactly the same as it would have been if it was contact on campus. In other words, this is the second period starting 9:25 till 10:25. You've got your breaks in between. The second session starts at 10:50 till 11:50. That's the 2 sessions that we have today for this particular module. And the rest of your week would be split up in a normal 5 days, 6 periods per day, as if it was live on campus or contact on campus. So you do not have to, every single time that we have a class, therefore, use a new ID to log into the Zoom session. Because it's a recurring session, that specific link and that ID and password remains the same for every single session. So what I have decided to do, and how we're going to structure it, and we'll see how it goes today. And obviously, one thing that COVID has learned us is that we have to adapt very quickly and almost continuously. Just yesterday, my son is in grade 10. He was supposed to go back, and on Friday, the Minister of Education says, sorry, only grade 6 and 11 will return for this week. He still has to now go into school today for half an hour just to register. And you know what, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for on many levels. In our case, it's specifically it's transport. How many people do you actually find have is in a position to in the middle of a day, 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, drop your kid at school and then picking up half an hour later. And I think that's the challenges that we are facing with, and we will have similar challenges during our first week of starting the second term. But as we've said throughout the whole process, we're all in this together. I can only improve in what I deliver if you tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I will also try and engage as many of you as possible as we would have had in a normal class scenario. And then hopefully we'll be on campus soon, although I think there's a few of you who actually would prefer not to go back to campus if you don't have to. But I think, yes, it's challenging on different levels, but we'll deal with it. So that's the format. So what I'm going to therefore attempt to do for the sessions this week is, if after 40 minutes the session ends, I'm going to try and deliver the work, the lecturing component, in that 40-minute session. When we return for the remainder 15 to 20 minutes of remaining 20 to 15 minutes of the hour class, we'll probably leave that for questions and addressing specific issues in that session that we just had, that you had problems with. So you're welcome to type your questions. We had a Zoom session yesterday with the new CEO at Stadio about the progress on the migration of Prestige to Stadio, which will be complete at the end of the year. So there won't be a Prestige next year, Stadio next year, and we all will be part of it. But as we get more operational feedback and information, we will share that with you. But enough of that at the moment. So I will use that remaining 15 to 20 minutes of the hour session for questions. We take our normal breaks like we take between classes. We don't extend it into the next session. And we stick to our timetables. There are people who want to do things. There are people who have to do things in between sessions. like you would have done on campus, maybe run off to Munchies or something, or make yourself a cup of tea in this case, or whatever. So that remains the same. So let's try and make it as real as it would have been on campus. Okay. Anybody at this stage? All good?
Yebo.
Where's my Man United supporters? Thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. You guys are playing good football at the moment.
There
I
we
enjoy
go.
it.
There we go.
Thank you, Nilan. I do enjoy it.
Yes, me
I think
too.
you enjoy this one as well. Thank you very much. I just had to sneak that one in. You guys know me. And you will forgive me. The wait has been long. It's been 30 years. So if you have Liverpool friends and they are a bit more ignorant or let me rather rephrase that, have become as ignorant as a Man United or a Man City supporter in the last week or two, please bear with me. It's still new to them because it happens every 30 years. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do in the first session today, and I think we have already gone about almost 20 minutes into the first session. What I would like to do is I want to share the screen with the document on, I want to share the screen with the assignment that I will, and those of you on Moodle will see it's not uploaded yet. There's one or two technical issues we need to just sort out between me and the moderator. The course itself, or the assignment itself is not going to change. And that's why I'm going to give you a brief on the assignment today. I will upload the assignment during the course of the afternoon. And then importantly enough is the process of how we're going to submit our assignments from now onwards. Okay, let me go to the shared screen and I'll share that particular document with you. There we go. Can everybody see? Can everybody see the assignment? You can just give me a thumbs up. You don't have to. Everybody fine? Good, good. Right. The assignment, people, is an individual assignment. Let's go right to the top. You'll see the dates. I'm putting it out there for you guys on Moodle this afternoon. It's due on the 4th. And importantly to remember, and you will obviously, when you download this, the same would apply as with all the other assignments that you've done thus far, including the ones that you've submitted during lockdown in semester 1. You still have to include your cover page. And then people are also, one of the common mistakes that I found throughout with your first semester assignments, and I say you, I'm not referring to this group specifically, but to all the students that I have lectured to on different subjects, they don't always date and sign that cover page. You have to do that because that's a declaration that you sign, that it is your own work, and as far as you know. We all know about plagiarism. I'm not going to spend any time on that. Importantly would be number 8, right there in the middle of the screen. The submission of your assignments, it must be done electronically, and it must be done via the specific portal that we have created for you on Moodle. So it's an online submission to Moodle. And those of you who have, in semester 1, you have had that experience, and I answered a lot of emails in that regard. The Turnitin is linked to this specific portal that we've created on Moodle. You do not have to submit it to Turnitin as well. If you do, your similarity report would immediately increase to 100% because it recognizes your own assignment that you have submitted in Moodle as well. So we are eventually going to do away with your direct submission, or I think we actually have, have done away with your direct submission to turn it in. You go onto your Moodle page. There is a specific folder that was created for you for assignment 1, 2, 3, and 4, whatever. You will click on that, and it will, maybe I can get it on the screen. I'm not sure if I have it. Let's see. No, I don't have it on the screen at the moment. But those of you who have used that in the first semester would realize that it works quite well, and that we will be using for your submissions for this assignment. The rest of the stuff is pretty much the same that you've been used to with all the assignments that you've done thus far. And for those gym bunnies who are very frustrated because they can't go back to the gym yet, or ever, I don't know. Don't use this as an excuse, never go back to the gym, okay? Right? Don't use COVID as an excuse. As a matter of fact, I'm working with another company at the moment as a consultant where we are now preparing online training courses for personal trainers and coaches. So I think this particular brand is quite familiar for those who train regularly. Virgin Active, we've used Virgin Active because I think it's a recognizable brand. And I think importantly in this case is I did a lot of research on Virgin Active and specifically the exercise industry and the challenges that they are facing now during COVID-19, the lockdown. What's going to happen when they return? I know there are some gyms in America that have completely changed the layout of the gym. In other words, if those who are familiar with going to the gym, you have a circuit that you can that you follow all the different lights and the bleeps and whatever, and then you move to the next station. Then you have your apparatus, that specific section, and there's always 2 or 3 stations with the same equipment, and then you have your free weight section. And what they've done in some states in America already, some gyms, is they have taken it and they've changed it into different incubator sessions. In other words, you've got a cubicle which is basically 3 by 3, and you have 1 or 2 apparatus in there that will be able to exercise your upper body. And then there's a similar one for legs, it's a similar one for abs, and a similar one for different body sections to train. And then you book in advance a session. And you train for half an hour, you train for 45 minutes, you could book your session, and then there's 10-minute slots between the different sessions that allows the cleaners to come in and completely sanitize the entire area. So it's a new way of doing it. Well, I know the group sessions in gyms have always been done in that session, in that fashion. You can't just rock up for a spin class at the Virgin Active at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You have to book, otherwise you're not going to get a bike. So in that regard, it's going to be the same for a lot of people. But it will be interesting to see what they come up with. And I'm quite convinced that they will be opening very soon, because exercise in whatever form is good for the mind, especially in this lockdown situation that we find ourselves. Now, what are we going to do with Virgin Active? You are the lucky ones to have been appointed now as a sales manager at, in this case, Tiger Valley's Virgin Active. And you are now confronted with a few challenges. You've got to now present a sales plan to the management of Virgin Active, this specific club, on how are you going to find customers? How are you going to find customers? Because in the past there were many methods that you can use, and we'll see when we start chapter 1. The old traditional way of selling, personal selling, is there's a lot of direct interaction. It's a one-on-one, it's a form of one-on-one selling. So how's that going to happen if we can't do that? Or how are we going to do that? That's the question. So what we're going to expect you to do is that we're going to ask you to, in question 1, for instance, list and explain to Virgin Active the steps in the personal selling process. Now, the steps in the personal selling process we'll immediately do in chapter 1, and that's probably not going to happen in this session, but in the second period this morning, or the third period, but the second one for you today. And there are 10 different steps. So again, as the question says, list the step, explain the step, and then apply the step as you would have done, or as you are requested now to do for Virgin Active. Okay, again, the value of the answer and the breakdown reflects to the instructions. List, explain, and apply. Prospecting. Prospecting is one of the ways, or is the step that is used to find new prospects. People who are not currently members at a Virgin Active, and to ensure that obviously your membership numbers grow continuously. The prospecting process is also a continuous process. More about that when we do chapter 1, and then there is a chapter later on in your manuals. If I can quickly refer to the index, it would be chapter 6 that we'll be dealing with later on in the term, is actually on prospecting itself. It's a whole chapter just on prospecting. So in other words, once we've finished chapter 1 today, you would already be able to complete question 1. Okay. So you will now, for question 2, name and describe which prospecting sources and methods you are going to recommend that Virgin Active use to find new members. And again, apply it to the specific situation. Question 3. You guys are welcome at any point to unmute yourself and ask a question at the session. Don't worry, it's not that a lecture is happening now. I'm just briefing you on the assignment itself. So you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question. You're more than welcome to type a question. When we take a break, I will look at all the different questions that you've posed in the chat box, and then I'll reply to them in the next session. Right. Name and discuss question 3, the types of sales closing techniques, and 5 objections that people most commonly have usually. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't know when to train, I don't know. There's a whole list, but there are ones that we find is most common and is in most cases used by most people as an objection or as an excuse, because that's basically what an objection is, or what sometimes can be perceived as an objection, as an excuse, which actually it's not, because an objection is just, for the experienced salesperson, it is just an indication that the prospect or the potential client has not received enough information to make a decision. That's why they have an objection. But more about that as we go along with the course. Question 4. 2 people entered. Okay, Taylor is joining us now, and we're going to, as it says there on the screen, have 10 minutes to wrap up this. And then, as I suggested, people, as I suggested, you can just rejoin, because it's a recurring session. You can just follow that same link again. Okay. Try and unmute all of you guys there, so we can have a chat, or you can have a chat at any point. On this assignment. Everybody can still see the assignment? All still good?
Yes, sir.
It's good. Thanks. Oh, and away. Fantastic. Right. It is challenging. I know, guys. I mean, really, don't think you're in this alone. It's also tough on us, getting used to doing your work throughout the day, because I know that you sleep at least 10 of them. So it leaves us a lot of time to do what we have to do. But all of a sudden, we have to go back to the routine, which I think is not bad. Right, let's go to question 4. I'm going to ask you to illustrate the steps in the planning of a sales call. Now, illustrate the steps means you're going to draw something for me, or you're going to use all different kinds of technology to ensure that I have a picture. It's not a bullet point, it's not an essay, it's an illustration. Okay. And then explain in detail each of the steps. Okay, that's where the explanation comes in. The first 6 marks for that question is just the illustration. In other words, you're probably going to, I think you figured it out already, that there's 4 steps, and then maybe in many cases there's an additional 2 steps, and that you'll get a mark for each of those steps if you illustrate them. And people, just to use at this point, your previous or one of your previous assignments in semester 1, I think it was when we did the distribution channels, when it's requested to provide the illustration, make very, very sure that your when there are arrows that need to go and link certain blocks, that they are used correctly and that the direction or the flow is indicated correctly as well. Often I've seen that it's just a line. Okay. And don't assume that the lecturer or assessor, who's not always the same person, who marks the assignment, that person knows. That person might be somebody sitting in a different location. They get the memo, they see the answer, and they mark it incorrectly. That's just leaving marks out there. I'm giving you hints on mistakes that is commonly made. If there's an error, use it correctly by indicating the correct direction in which the diagram or illustration flows, please. Explain in detail, I've done that. And then also right at the bottom, please, people, when I've given you, I've included there, often when it comes to referencing and doing a bibliography, you just pluck a few things down there and that's fine. I'm going to specifically, and that's why how you're going to get your 3 marks. I want an internet source, I want a textbook source, and I want an academic journal article. That's also, you'll find that on the internet as well. That's blogs and articles, and that's published by people on a specific subject. I went onto the website on the weekend, or onto internet on the weekend, just to find some sources on personal selling during the COVID period and post-COVID. And just on page 1 in my search, I found 22 articles. So yes, it's easy to find them, but I would prefer, you can have more than one of these. I'm not suggesting only have 3 resources in your bibliography, but ensure that at least you have 1 of each as indicated there, please. A question at this point? Any questions?
No question, sir.
Everybody okay with the assignment? It doesn't seem too bad. Doesn't seem too difficult.
Okay.
It always seems a bit more difficult if you haven't done the work yet. But I'm pretty sure I can convince you at this stage that what I'm doing now is I'm selling the assignment and the difficulty of the assignment to you. People, it's a straightforward assignment where, again, as you progress, we are moving into the 2nd semester of your 1st year of studies. You're going to get more and more, and this is in preparation for next year as well. You're going to get more and more questions where we expect you to apply. And remember, with the situation we find ourselves in now in lockdown, and we're restricted to online lectures, it's very to ensure that we know that you understand a particular concept. I can't go and use the old traditional methods where you guys write an exam paper, because you have a book. It's an open book exam. So the application part will become more and more evident in more questions in your tests and exams, because that's where we can find out if you actually understand the concept. Okay, so there's method behind the madness. Any questions at this point? No questions? Everybody okay with the assignment?
Yeah.
Sir.
You don't really have a choice, do you? Thanks, Neelan. So just to recap, important to remember the context of the assignment is the context of the assignment. Handing date is the 4th. Okay. I might change that that handing date so it closes 5 minutes to midnight. I'll take that up with management. I'm not 100% sure if I'm pretty sure it will be allowed. And then also importantly again, your submission via the portal that we have created in Moodle. Okay? All good with that?
Yep.
Good. I think we've got about 5 minutes to go. So to recap, people, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to go back. Your guys are more than welcome to contribute at any point of the stage. It's at the first session of the start of any module is just to find out how you guys are doing first, to ensure that most of you join, and then also to give you sort of a rundown of what to expect for this term. Personal selling can be a very interesting subject. I'm going to try and make it as interesting as possible. And you know what? I think that we all are selling. Often I've heard, we've often heard the expression that people say, "Oh, but you're a born salesman." Salespeople are not born. Salespeople can be made. We're selling every day. Have anybody of you during the lockdown gone out? You can go out now, but you can't have a drink. That's also true. But last time that you actually were permitted to go out and jowl on a Saturday or a Friday evening, or you guys do it every evening, but you went out to a bar or a restaurant to jowl. Every time that you're trying to meet or chat up a girl, you're actually selling. One of the two of you are selling and the one's buying. And so everybody sells in some way, people. That's how we get by in life. Okay. I look forward to it. It seems that we're going to run out of time in about a minute's time. So I'm going to end the session now. And just remind you, and I'll do it in the next session as well, that obviously that is recorded. So you can watch it later on. I'll upload every session every day as we finish it. Okay. You can just rejoin with the same link as soon as the session ends, which would be right now. And I'll see you in 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Thanks. See you guys all just now.